And hello, welcome to episode 101 of the Confident Live Marketing Podcast. My name's Ian Anderson Gray, and in this episode, I'm going to be talking about sharing really my Confident Live journey, how I got to here today, and I'm hoping that from what I've learned, the mistakes and the successes that I've made, that you can maybe learn from that as well. And I'm also going to be sharing with you what is happening next on this show, what I'm working on next as well. So I'd love to hear from you. If you are watching live, where in the world are you watching from? I'd love to know that. And I'd also love to know if you could let me know if you've got any thoughts or ideas of what you'd like to see on this show as well, because this show is not about me. It's about you. It's about me. I'm here to help you and to inspire you with your Confident Live journey. So let me know in the comments where in the world you're watching from and really what you're working on at the moment in your business and what you're wanting to do from a live point of view. Now, I'm going to be sharing a few things in this part that I'm not going to show in the main section, such as, and this is really exciting, I'm working on a new intro and outro. The audio is done. So my friends at Music Radio Creative, they have created the music and the audio and put it all together. But I'm just working at putting the video together. So yeah, I'm not quite ready to share that in the main part of the show. But I thought I'd just play you the audio of the new the new intro. And I'd love to know what you think about this. So now let me see. I've got the button. Yeah, I do. Here he is.
Welcome to the Confident Live Marketing Show with Ian Anderson Gray.
Helping you level up your impact, authority, and profits through the power of confident live video.
Optimize your mindset and communication and increase your confidence in front of the camera.
Get confident with the tech and gear.
And get confident with the content and marketing.
Together, we can go live!
All right, well, there you go. That's the new intro. I'm working on the video side of things, but not quite there yet. But we'll get there. We'll get there. Very exciting stuff. So I think it's time to get on with the show. Just let me know, as I say, if you've got any questions for me, do put the letter Q followed by your question if you've got any thoughts on that. And do share this out with anyone else that you think would enjoy this. But yeah, I think it's time to get on with the show. I'll see you just after this. Hello, my name's Ian Anderson Gray, and in this episode of the Confident Live Marketing Show, I'm talking about my Confident Live journey and what is next. What am I working on next, and what you can learn from my successes and some of my failures. So, I'll be with you just after this.
This is the Confident Live Marketing Podcast. Confident Live Marketing Podcast with Ian Anderson Gray, helping entrepreneurs level up their impact, authority, and profits through the power of live video. Gain confidence in front of the camera, confidence with technology, and confidence with the content and marketing.
Together, we can go live!
Hello and welcome to episode 101 of the Confident Live Marketing Podcast. This is the show that helps you level up your impact, authority, and profits through the power of Confident Live Video. Now, in today's show, I'm going to be talking a little bit more about my journey, my Confident Live journey, what I've learned over the years, what I'm doing now, and what I'm doing next, what is happening next. So some exciting things today. Just to let you know, this show goes live every Tuesday and Thursday. Now, I've just been doing it every Thursday for the last few weeks, but I'm going back to twice per week from next week. And broadcast to a plethora of different destinations, of course, using the power of Restream. I'll tell you a little bit more about Restream, one of the sponsors of the show today. Now, if you're listening to the podcast, the episode show notes will be at iag.me/101. Two more things. If you're watching the replay, welcome. Just put hashtag replay in the comments. It would be awesome to see you there. And also just to say that this, of course, is a live show. So if you're listening in the if you're listening to the podcast or watching in the future, if you would like to be involved with this live show, all you need to do is go to confident.live/subscribe and we'll notify you next time I go live. Well, just a little bit more about the sponsor of today's show. It's Restream. And Restream is awesome. They sponsor the show. They allow me to broadcast to a plethora of different destinations. You can either do this through the browser using Restream Studio, or you can use other apps such as OBS Studio, or what I'm using, Ecamm Live today. So it's an awesome tool. And if you want to find out more, if you want to take it to it for a test drive, all you need to do is go to iag.me/Restream. That's iag.me/Restream. And thank you, Restream, for sponsoring this show. Awesome. Right, I can see we've got some live viewers now. Unfortunately, we've got a bug, which means it's really hard for me to read the comments until I put it up on the screen. I know because I'm using the Ecamm Live beta version or beta version. So I think, let's see, we've got Didi Wright is here. Great to see you, Didi. Hope you're doing well. Saying that would be good for us to do with our church, that intro. Yeah, definitely. Well, check out Music Radio Creative, musicradiocreative.com. They've got voiceover, they've got loads of voiceover artists, they've got music. And what they've done for me, and they've done before for me, is to put a package together for my intro and outro. So I've got that. Before I actually used Wave Video, and I love Wave Video for the visual elements of it, which I definitely recommend. But what I'm doing this time is I'm actually hiring somebody to actually put some animations together. But definitely check that out. Music Radio Creative are cool. I can see that Tim Sorn is here. I can't see what you're saying, Tim, unless I put it on the screen. But great to see you, Tim. Hi, Ian Osgray, tuning in from across the pond. It's always awesome to see you on the show. It's such a great encouragement. Do check out what Tim does. Tim is a live video master. He does amazing things. And I think you've got a course coming out fairly soon, or might even be out now. I don't know. Tish is here. Welcome back, Tish. Awesome to see you. Hope you're doing really well. Always love to see you here. And, oh my goodness, who we got here? We've got Nicole Osborne. Oh, we haven't spoken in ages, Nicole. Looks like a brilliant tool. I'm not sure which tool you're talking about. Let me know. But Tim says, shout out to the Ecamm network. Absolutely. Definitely. And Tim says, always learn so much from you. And it's the same. It's the same. I think one of the great things I find about all the various communities online, and I'm going to be talking about this today in my sharing my journey with you, is the way that we can learn and inspire from each other. There's the negative side of things, and I don't know what you think about this, Tim, but sometimes, there's the whole comparison syndrome. Sometimes we can look at other people and that can get us down. And I've shared about that on the show before, but we can learn so much from each other. We can be inspired, and we have that support network. So definitely love that. I think Katie Simpson's here as well. So Katie, well, congratulations to you winning first prize in the giveaway. Oh my goodness. How much stuff have you got already? Yeah, it's very, very exciting. And Tim says, my course, yes, Survive and Rise with Live Video is starting again on March the 15th. Awesome. Definitely check that out. And Nicole says, I meant Restream. Thank you. He says, Ian rocks. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Nicole. And, I think, Nicole, you've been one person that has inspired me over the years, the way that you have just got on with the job. And, I've worked with Nicole before on some of her projects on live video. And Nicole, in fact, you've been on the show, one of the earlier shows. I just love what you do. And we need people like Nicole in our lives, people who are really enthusiastic and encouraging. And so thank you, Nicole, for popping on the show. Katie says, we've got no heating in our home in England. We think the pipes are frozen, and we just had a power cut too. Oh my goodness, that's a disaster. An absolute disaster. Well, keep those comments coming. It's awesome to see you. As I said in previous weeks, this is my year of community. And, you watching, you listening, you are the most important person. I'm here to serve you. And so thank you. I don't take it for granted at all that you're here spending your time with me. Awesome. So a few things to share just before I get on with the main topic. Some exciting news in the world of Ecamm Live. So I use Ecamm Live for the majority of my broadcasts with Restream. I think the combination of those two tools is like a marriage made in heaven. It's awesome. But in the beta version of Ecamm Live, translation for my American friends, beta, but I call it beta, they've now released preview mode. preview mode. Now, what on earth is preview mode? Well, I wonder whether you've had this situation. You've gone live and you realize that you've made a mistake on one of the scenes, that the name is wrong for one of your guests. Or maybe you want to add something like a new overlay, and it just looks a little bit unprofessional if you add it on. So, for example, if I wanted to add some text now, let's add some text. Let's see. So let's just say, this is not very exciting, but if you're listening to the podcast, what I'm doing now is I'm adding an overlay, and I've added the phrase amazing text on the screen. And okay, maybe I want to move it up to the top left. That doesn't look really very professional on the screen. Well, let's see. In preview mode, I can now enter preview mode, and I can move this text. So I'm going to move it now up to, at the moment it's at the bottom in the center, but I've now dragged it up to the top left. And what I'm also going to do is this is going to be very strange. I'm also going to add another camera. I'm going to add a round camera. I'm going to add my MacBook Pro's camera as well on the bottom right. So I've added that. I've tweaked around, but my live viewers can't see what I've done there. I'm doing this in preview mode, but now I can publish those changes live now, just in the click of a button. So now if you're watching, you should see at the top left is the text, amazing text, and on the bottom right is my other webcam. So I can now change that. I can remove the webcam, I can remove the text, and then I can publish those changes. So I'll show you how, and I'll describe how I do that in Ecamm Live now. So if I go into live demo mode, okay, so now I'm showing my entire screen. So this only works at the moment when you go live, or if you're recording. And the way to find this is by going to, let's have a look. Where is it? Can never remember where it is now. Yeah, there we go. So you just go to the Ecamm Live Beta menu, and then you should have the option to enter either live mode. So let's go return to live mode. Actually, let's do that. I can enter preview mode, and there's if you do command and return. By the way, Ecamm Live is only for Macs, I'm afraid, but there are other tools like OBS that will work on PC. So I can now enter preview mode. So on the right hand side now, we've got this window called Ecamm Live Program. This shows the live view, and my main window here is the preview window. So I can add some text here. So this is some text I'm just adding. Okay, and I've added that on the screen. But on the right, on the main window, you can't see that yet. So I could now add a guest. For example, I could bring in a guest. I could change scenes. For example, I could go to my new intro. So let's go to that. Now, this is a video, but it's not playing at the moment. But if I publish this, you will see this scene.
Welcome to the Confident Live.
Just published that now. So I can go in between those different modes. So that is really, really awesome. That is a preview mode. Still a little bit buggy with things. You'll probably notice this is the bug that I've got in the comments at the moment. So when I'm looking at the comments in Ecamm Live, it's all kind of, basically it's like 3 or 4 letters per line. So I can't actually see them very, very well. But yeah, they'll figure that out, I'm sure, in time. So that's one thing, and then the other thing that they've done is they've upgraded the web widgets thing. So one of the things, I haven't really experimented with this very much, but there are loads of these widgets that you can add, overlays that you can add onto your lives, and using services like Streamlabs Elements. Is that the word? The place? I can't remember. There's loads of these places online that you can create web widgets and then put it on top of your video and do some really cool things. So they've completely rebuilt that. So that now should be compatible with all web widgets, which is really, really awesome. Okay, so let's go back to some comments, and then I'm going to share with you my story. So Tim says, I definitely feel imposter syndrome sometimes, but try to look at it instead of learning, instead of comparing. And it's a mindset thing, isn't it, Tim? It's totally about, looking at what other people do and sharing in their success and learning from it. We're all individuals. We're all at different stages in our lives. And this is one thing I'm realizing at the moment. Our kids are 10 and 12. We're in lockdown at the moment. when the kids are learning at home. There's a limitation to what we can do in terms of me growing my business. I can't do as much as I would like to do. So there's no point me comparing myself with somebody who is maybe doesn't have kids, or the kids have left home and they're able to focus a lot more on their business. And I think that's one thing we need to think about. Don't compare yourself with others. And I love that, Tim. Awesome stuff. Nicole says, I loved having Ian as my coach. Thank you, Ian. And thank you, Nicole. It's been great to work with you in the past. Thank you so much. Nicole is definitely awesome. It was awesome that you could meet last year in San Diego. My goodness, that was a long time ago. Carl, I'm so glad. Carl Sullivan is here. So he won second prize in the giveaway. He won a Samson Q2U microphone, amongst many other things, and he's enjoying that. So I'm really, really glad about that. That's awesome stuff. And yeah, keep the comments coming. Just one final thing from Nicole. I've got such Ecamm FOMO. The team is lovely. I might have to switch to Mac. And yeah, I'm sorry about that. Nicole, it is only for Mac. But there are some great tools on PCs, such as OBS Studio. So let's go back. I want to share my story and how I all started with this. Now, basically at school, when I was a lot younger, I had this kind of I was massively into music. I was massively into tech and science. I absolutely was fascinated by astronomy and looking at the planets and electronics. And I had a ZX Spectrum computer. I was a bit of a geek. Yeah, I was definitely a geek. No question about it. But I was also massively into music as well. And I want to share a photo here. So this is me as a teenager playing the cello. This is such an embarrassing photo with my mum in the background. So if you're listening to the podcast, you'll just have to imagine a very nerdy teenager with red hair playing the cello. But yeah, that was my life. It was music. I also got into singing as well, and I was also very much into technology. But getting on, although I was very shy, and I was very shy and definitely an introvert, I managed to be okay with getting on stage and performing. That was my thing. And it's still the case today. I'm an introvert. I'm not as shy as I used to be. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm shy anymore, but I'm definitely an introvert. But I'm getting in front of the camera. I'm sharing my story. I'm showing value and delivering value as much as I possibly can. And I think my background as a musician really helped with that. But there was a bit of an issue. I moved around a lot, and I moved from England to Scotland. And I had an English accent at a Scottish school. I was bullied really badly. Oh my goodness, it was horrible. And so my confidence levels went right down. And it was the same when I went to England. A couple of years later, having acquired a Scottish accent, I was bullied and teased. Not as bad as I was in Scotland, badly, but it was still pretty bad. And yeah, my confidence levels at school were not that great. It was a bit of a difficult time. So yeah, I had to. My confidence levels at school weren't great, but music was my life and technology was my life. And I had to make this decision, really, at school. Do I go down the tech or the science route, or do I go down the music route? And I wonder whether you've had to make those decisions in your life, whether you've had to make these big decisions. Do you go down one path or another path? And, I'm looking back now, and it was absolutely the right thing to do. I'm not involved so much in music now. I still teach at the Royal Northern College of Music Junior School. I still do some singing, but I'm not doing as much as I used to do. But all those skills that I learned, I think, have made me into who I am today, and have allowed me to help other people through the skills that I learned. So that was really, really important. So I then went to Durham University to read music, and then I realized that singing was what I actually wanted to do. And so I then went to the Royal Northern College of Music, which is a conservatoire in the UK, to train to be a professional classical singer. And I've got an image here. So let's see if I can share this image on the screen, and I'll describe this for podcast listeners. So this was in my first year at the Royal Northern College of Music, the RNCM, and we put on an opera by Puccini called La Bohème. And I was really lacking in confidence, but when I went on stage, it was amazing because I was with all these other people on stage, these amazing singers, And I wasn't singing any solos, but I was in the chorus. But there, I don't know whether you can see me in there, but let's see if I can add some text here, so I can show you where I am. I've just realised. Hold on a minute. I'm still in preview mode, which is no good. So let's go to live mode now, so you can see this. So you might not have been able to see my picture of me with my cello before, but anyway, that is me there. Basically dressed up in as a paparazzi photographer. So that was me there, and I'll just share the one of me with the cello. So that's the nerdy cello pick if you missed it before. Very embarrassing. So yeah, so that was where I went, and it was at the College of Music is where I met my wife, and that was obviously the most amazing experience. I can't believe I'm actually showing this. I'd never actually had a girlfriend before. Helen was my first girlfriend. And it was through that experience, through her believing in me and seeing in my potential. That was one massive thing in the build-up of my confidence. So she was my first girlfriend, and then after about 3 months, we just knew it was right, and I asked her to marry me, and thankfully she said yes. So that was awesome. Let's have a look at some of the comments here. So Katie Simpson, let's have a look. Hold on a minute. What's happening here? What is going on? Something weird is going on here. So let's see. Let's have a look. So that's weird. Something. I'm going to have to. This is obviously a bug. This is a bug. So this is not good. There's obviously a bug in Ecamm Live. So I'm just going to, hopefully you can see this. Let's change my camera now. Okay, now let's go back to that one. Oh, there we go. It's working now. So yeah, sorry about that. But basically, for some reason, the overlays weren't working, and I couldn't get any comments on the screen. So Kate, what does Katie say? Katie says, I've been there too, but bullied from teachers instead. That is not good. Yes, I was bullied by teachers as well. It's a horrible thing. Yes, Carl says, yes, you made you the decent guy you are. And I think that's right. You know, the experience that I had at school has made me into a very empathetic person, and I really care for people, particularly maybe more eccentric people and people who are the misfits. And that's that's my kind of, so today, really, I'm wanting to help people. I want to help people. If they don't understand something, what I want to do is really help them in learning things. So I think that those experiences, as difficult as they were, I do believe it's important to turn those into positive things. Obviously, everyone's story is different. And if you've been bullied, if you had a really difficult time, you might not be able to get to that point that I'm at the moment, being able to be forgiving of the past and to learn from it. But I hope with time and the skills that, you will be able to do that. And Nicole says, loves the photos. Yeah, I'm not so sure about that. What does Carl say? Nothing embarrassing about being able to play the cello. No, definitely not. Katie's saying you're speedy. I'm not sure what that's about. Yes. And of course, Katie Simpson, who won first prize, she went to the Royal Scottish to study singing. And when I was in Glasgow, so I was at school, this was a difficult time. But one positive thing is that I did go to the Royal Scottish Academy of Music and Drama as a junior student. So I would have been about, how old would I have been? Maybe 10 or 11, 12, that kind of age. And so I studied there and, yeah, had an amazing time. So that was really, really awesome. The cello is definitely the most beautiful instrument out there. I would agree. So that's basically that's what happened there. And so I got married, and it was then that I had to then go into the real world, and I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. So I was singing professionally around the country. I was singing oratorio and the other types of concerts as well. And I started to teach singing as well. And that was a real passion of mine. It still is today. I still love to teach singing. But at the same time, this thing of geekery, this technology side of things was definitely there. I started building websites. So in 2003, 2004, I set up a web agency with my dad, who retired at the time. We set it up. It's called, still going today, it's called Select Performers. And it was a web agency building websites for musicians. We've broadened out since then, and now we build it for business owners. But that's how it started back in 2003. So 2011. So my kids were, so my daughter Lila was born in 2008, and my son Timothy was born in 2010. And in 2011, I decided it was time to set up a blog. I'd been wanting to set up a blog for ages, but I was procrastinating. I was trying to get things perfect. And I decided just to launch a blog with a very basic theme, and I started writing. And it was at the end, I think it was actually the beginning of 2012, that I wrote an article that was called 4 Reasons Not to Use Hootsuite. And that ended up, I expanded it a bit, became 7 Reasons Not to Use Hootsuite back in 2012. And my blog was basically about social media and making the choice, the tech side of it, the tools side of it. So I wanted to look at tools out there such as Hootsuite and other tools and work out what was best. And I did like Hootsuite, but I saw all these articles out there that were talking about they're all positives, and it just felt they were all very salesy, as if the people who were writing them were getting paid by Hootsuite. So I wanted to look at like the other side of it, and I wrote this article, 7 Reasons Not to Use Hootsuite. And that article changed everything. It was the first thing that changed everything because it started to become viral. I had no thought about monetizing my blog. That was not on the agenda. I just did it for fun. And I think that's an important thing because the passion was there. The passion was there, but also my passion for delivering value in detail, because that article was really detailed. And so I wrote that article. It started to become really viral, and I started to get basically by 2014, 2015, I started to go to conferences, and people had heard of me because of these articles, because I'd written other articles as well on the blog. So blogging really changed it for me. And in around 2012, 2013, I went to a conference in Wales called OIConf, and I met 2 guys, Ian Cleary and Mark Schaefer, for the first time. I'd never really heard of them before, but I met them, and both of them have become really good friends ever since. I was in awe of them. They were amazing speaking on stage. And then in 2014, I met a guy called Emmerich Erno, and he changed things for me. And this is one of the things I want to share with you today, is it's finding people that can believe in you, finding people that believe in you and see you for who you truly are. Because at the time, I had a false view of who I was. I saw myself as not very good, as a bit of a disaster, a failure. I had zero confidence. But there were other people out there that saw the value in what I did. And I started to get confidence in terms of, well, I've written this article, and the blog seems to be quite popular. But it was Emmerich, who is the CEO of Agora Pulse, a competitor to Hootsuite, who saw the value in what I did and became my mentor unofficially. And it was in 2015 when he said, you need to go to Social Media Marketing World, Ian. But Social Media Marketing World, I'm in the UK. Social Media Marketing World is in San Diego. Okay. It's a long way away. It's expensive. But he said, look, I'm going to invite you and a few other people to go to Social Media Marketing World. I'm going to buy you a ticket. You're going to go. You need to pay for the flight. You need to pay for the hotel, but you're going to go. And it was that push that I needed to go all the way to Social Media Marketing World. There was definitely a big pinch in terms of the cost, because the hotel was about $1,000 and the flight was about £600, $800, that kind of price. So it was a lot of money, but I felt it was the right thing to do. And 2015 was the year that really everything changed for me. I will get back to comments in a minute, but I just want to share this with you, because going to a big conference like that and making those connections was amazing. I met so many people at that conference. And that year, on the back of that, I ended up speaking at other conferences such as New Media Europe. I met the wonderful Mike and Isabella Russell, who at their company produces my they produced my intro and outro of this podcast and live show. So that was amazing. And I met Mark Schaefer there again. So that year I met these key people in my life. Mark Schaefer, Jeff C., who's become a really great friend of mine, Emmerich Erno, met in person, Ian Cleary again, Phil Nashon, who believed in me and who I was. And as a result of that, I ended up being asked to speak at Social Media Marketing World the next year. I met Cliff Ravenscraft for the first time and Chris Ducker, and Cliff and I have become great friends since. Cliff needs to come on the show. I just need to ask him. But anyway, so so masterminds as well and mentors. So the 2 M's there. If you're not in a mastermind, if you don't have any mentors, people who believe in you, you need to find those people, because we all need encouragement. We all need those people that are going to make allow us to become more confident and to see ourselves as the way we actually are. And I started to be able to change that view of myself very, very slowly. And of course, my wife has been amazing in all of that. She always believed in me, but it's like I needed more. So that was absolutely vital. So let's look at some comments. Katie Simpson says, your pain has changed into your passion. I love that, Katie. That is so true. Really, really good way of putting it. Love that. Carl says, let's have a look. Oh, it's really hard with this bug in Ecamm. I wish, but no, I have subbed to Houston to learn ukulele. Let's see how that goes, but I can't even whistle. You'll be fine. It's all good fun. It's just, music is such a beautiful thing. Katie says, isn't it amazing where your life and your career and skills have taken you? And yeah, I think, and I would love to hear more about your story, Katie, because there's so many different aspects of our lives that can come together. A bit more about that in a bit for me. Nicole says, that's such a good tip. Find people who believe in you. Yeah, it's something that just came to me today as I put these notes together for the show. I didn't seek those people out. Thankfully, they sought me out. They believed in me. And I still look back to 2015 and I'm a Christian. I believe in God, and I totally believe that God made that happen. But even if you're not a believer, I think you can still believe that these things can happen for a reason. And all of those things definitely happened for a reason for me. All of those things came together. It was just like amazing stuff. Awesome. Right. Keep those comments coming. I can see, I'll bring a couple more comments in. Nicole said, Ian, I traveled to Social Media Marketing World after you and I had a really open chat about it. I'll never forget it. And thank you for helping me being brave. I loved it that I went in 2020. Yeah, I remember that conversation, Nicole, because I think I remember what it felt like, that feeling scared and nervous. And it's a lot of money, to invest, and time to invest as well. And if you've got a family, there's that as well, going away for, a whole week to another part of the world. But sometimes you need to make those leaps of faith. You need to do those scary things. And that was absolutely what I needed to do. And I think it's what you needed to do, Nicole. It's you've got to work out what's best for you, but sometimes it is absolutely the right thing to do. Tim is saying, shout out to Carl Sullivan. Carl is awesome. And Katie says, that's lovely to hear about the Agorapulse CEO. I did my setup webinar with them the other day. It was live and the chat was so helpful. Awesome. And of course, Katie has I can't remember what the new plan is, but it used to be called the large plan for Agorapulse. All the plans have changed. And Agorapulse is, of course, a sponsor to the show. So thank you, Agorapulse. So 2016 is when I was asked to speak at Social Media Marketing World. And this is a true story. So Mike Stelzner is the founder and CEO of Social Media Examiner, which is the most amazing social media blog. It is I think it's the biggest and the most popular in the world. And Social Media Marketing World is the biggest social media conference in the world. Although, of course, at the moment it's not happening, sadly, because of COVID. But he sent me an email asking me, would I like to speak at Social Media Marketing World? And I didn't get it because it went into my spam folder. So he had to send me a Facebook message. And so I got this Facebook message for him. and he asked me if I would like to speak at Social Media Marketing World. And I still remember I was in the upstairs in my kids' room with my wife, Helen, and we just jumped up and down for joy. It was the most amazing thing. I couldn't believe it. Total imposter syndrome. I didn't believe in the skills that I had, but other people did. And so that year, I spoke at Social Media Marketing World. I was speaking on Twitter and Twitter tools in particular, and that was amazing. So being able to speak at Social Media Marketing World, and I started to get asked to speak at other conferences as well. And this whole thing of other people believing in me. So again, just to say to you, you need to find those people that will believe in you, believing in you. And the masterminds that I was in was great because a mastermind group is basically meeting up with a group of people, either online or in person, and you share what you're working on, share your struggles, share your successes with each other. And they encourage you, but they also try and give you positive and constructive feedback to help you. And so I was in one with Jeff C at the time and a few other people, and that was amazing. 2017, though, is when things started to... So a lot of success going on there, but 2017 was a difficult year. I totally forgot. 2016. So a few other things that happened that year, which were amazing. That was the year that I started so I wrote about Facebook Live. So I wrote this article. Facebook Live came out, but unfortunately, it wasn't available if you were in the UK and you were an Android user. It was only US and iPhone, and I was Android and in the UK. But I found a way that you could broadcast to Facebook Live from your computer using a technology called OBS Studio. And so I wrote this article, and I got so frustrated with all these articles out there that were making it too complicated. So my passion for teaching, my passion for making things easy to understand came together. My passion for tech and social media came together, and I wrote that article, How to Broadcast Facebook Live from Your Computer. That changed everything for me. How could I forget? Because that has had over 6.5 million page views. And I started to be seen as an expert and an influencer in the world of live video. And absolutely. And so I then launched a course. I realized I needed to launch a course on how to do this. And that course, that course did so well. I sold hundreds of this course to these amazing people out there. And I started getting asked to speak about live video. But there was a problem. The problem was I was good at talking about live video, but actually going live, there was a problem because I was nervous. I was scared. And it was that time that I had to learn to get over the fear and to become more confident in live video. 2017 was when things went a bit pear-shaped for me. I started to hide. I started to get scared. It was almost a bit of self-sabotage because of all that success that I had in 2016. I felt that I didn't deserve it. So I wonder with you, when you have had success, when people have believed in you, when things have gone well, have you pressed that self-destruct button because you feel that you're not worthy somehow? It was a very selfish thing to do because the thing was, I was able to deliver so much value and help to people, but I was like self-obsessed. I was worried about that I wasn't who I thought I was, or people would find out that I was a complete fraud. And so I hid away. I launched a course on Wirecast that didn't do very well because I didn't really put my all into it, or I didn't make it into what it should have been at the time. And so the year 2017 was my year of hiding and real problem with self-belief. But paradoxically, it was also the year that Confident Live was born. The phrase Confident Live was born, and I did start to do a lot of live video. I did it with my friend. What was it? This was the Free Range Social Show with Julia Bramble, and I did a lot of live video. So I did start to do it, and I was still speaking at Social Media Marketing World, but it was a bit of a scary time. So that was a difficult time. So I'd love to know from you, if you're watching live on the replay or listening to the podcast, have you had that experience when you pressed the self-destruct button? It's a scary thing. Just to let you know, if you've just joined, this is the Confident Live Marketing Show. This is episode 101. And in today's show, I'm sharing my Confident Live journey, the ups and the downs. So I'm hoping that you can learn and be inspired, but also learn from my mistakes so that you're not going to make them yourself. So this is episode 101, which is really, really exciting. So thank you for that. Let's have a look at some more comments here. So good for you. This is about Carl playing the ukulele. Awesome. You definitely need to do that. I want to hear you playing the ukulele, Carl. Martin says, just our meet summer 2019. Was it 2019? Oh my goodness. I can't believe it's 2019. So I met Martin at Janet Murray's event in summer 2019. I think you're right, at Janet Murray's event in London. It changed me for going live. And yeah, I mean, Martin, it was amazing to meet you. I was really inspired, Martin, by your confidence speaking around the world and your confidence in yourself, in your business, in the value that you give to people. You clearly had that then, as you do now. But as I know you won't mind me saying, you didn't have confidence in getting in front of the camera. There was this blockage. We all have these blockages. We all have these. I had loads of these blockages. And I have the privilege to help you, Martin. It was just a very simple thing, just getting in front of the camera. And we've not been able to stop you. Not that we're trying to stop you from going live, but that's been really awesome, Martin. So thank you. It's been a real privilege to know you. And yeah, so Tim and Nicole seeing each other at Social Media Marketing World. Definitely. Thank you, Carl. Awesome. So Nicole is a fan of Agora Pulse. It's an amazing tool. Okay, so the next thing that happened really, and this is another thing that I want to encourage you, is to find tools to companies. So I've talked about relationships with people. That's important. But find relationships with companies and become their brand ambassador. And as you know, I talk a lot about Restream on this show and Ecamm Live and Agora Pulse. And yes, those companies do pay me now. I am a brand ambassador. I have affiliate relationships with those companies, but it didn't start out that way. You know, Agora Pulse, I was just a fan. There was no payments involved. Restream, I started using it. Ecamm Live, I just started using it. But I was able to build relationships with those companies and give them value. And so building those relationships with those companies and the people within those companies is so awesome. And it's been a real privilege to get to know the people behind those companies, like Emmerich from Agora Pulse and Katie and Ken and Glenn from Ecamm and Anya and Grace from Restream. It's been amazing to get to know those people. And from those brand ambassadorships, I was then able to pay myself more of a monthly income, because that's the one thing I've not talked about. You know, up until 2015, money was a real problem for me. I was really struggling. There was not much money coming in. I wasn't really getting that many coaching sessions, if at all. But from 2015 onwards, that started to grow, and I started to get more brand ambassadorships. I started to be able to get more coaching clients. I launched my course, and that made a massive difference. And somebody said to me a few years ago, and it made a big influence on me, you can't help people. And that is important. I want to help people. You can't help people if you don't have a profitable business. The problem that I had was that I was so worried about the money side of things that I wasn't able to help people as much as I could. And there was definitely it was a slow burn for me. I had to do things, get more money. I was then able to stop some of my teaching so I could then spend more time in my business and do it slowly over time. There was no overnight, suddenly I was a 6 or 7 figure business. No, my goodness, it took time for me. But I think if I had that confidence in my ability a lot earlier on, I probably would have got there a lot quicker. So have those mentors, have the mastermind, build that confidence and build that view of that true view of who you are. And if you can, get those brand ambassadorships. So yeah, 2018 was that crisis of confidence for me, really. It was a difficult year. But then I was able to get some coaching. So my friend Kelly Barder was stepped in there, and I paid her for coaching. So as a mastermind, this was paid mastermind. I was still in some free masterminds, but that was really helpful. She's a real person that likes to kick you up. She knows that she needs to kick you up the butt, or up the bottom, as we say in the UK. So that was really helpful. That was my year of coaching. Then that forwards into 2019, and 2019 was the first year that I gave a name. I saw other people doing this in the past, but 2019, I gave it a name. And I hear a lot of people talk about manifesting things. I'm not a great believer in manifesting as such. I think there is some truth in it. But what I did was that I gave the name of that year, my year of visibility, and then I did something about it. So that year was when I leveled things up in terms of my speaking gigs. And I spoke at Social Media Marketing World, but also at Content Marketing World. And I was speaking, I spoke at more conferences than I ever had done before. Like I spoke at Atomicon, Andrew and Pete's conference, and I spoke in where was it? So many places, I can't even remember where they were, but loads of places. Poland I spoke in, and another place that the name escapes me, all these beautiful countries. It was a difficult year because I was speaking at all those places, but it was something that I needed to do to get out of that crisis of confidence and that year of hiding that I had in 2017 and 2018. So stepping up, being seen, it was so important. That was my year of visibility. But the pillar that really that was the big thing for me that year was my health and my diet, because this is something I've spoken not publicly before, but I really struggled for quite a few years in the early 2000s with ME. Now there were different words for this, but I basically had this. I was tired, so tired. I had to go to bed for a whole week, and then get up to do a concert, and then go back to bed. And in 2015 actually is when I gave up sugar. I completely got rid of sugar from my diet, and that made a massive impact on me, more than I can even explain now. But in 2019, I also gave up caffeine and coffee because it was actually having a negative effect on me. I'm not saying you need to do that, but for me, I needed to do that. And I started to really focus on that. I hired a personal trainer because for me, I needed that extra help. So that made a massive difference. And I really focused on my health and my diet. And I still get tired. So I still have some setbacks with kind of ME-like symptoms, but nowhere near like I used to. It had a massive, massive impact on me. So 2019, my year of visibility, and health and diet was the pillar number 5. And then that brings me into 2020 last year, which I was going to nickname my year of growth. And I had no idea that COVID was going to happen. If I'd known that COVID was going to come, I probably wouldn't have called it my year of growth, but it absolutely was my year of growth. Ironically, because I wasn't able to go to any conferences and speak at all these conferences and to get distracted by all these exciting things, it was the year that I had to focus on growing my business. It was the year of being consistent with my live show. I launched my live show and podcast in 2019. But 2020 was that year when I focused on growing my business and growing my team. Tonya, my assistant, and everyone else in my team have been amazing. They've allowed me to focus. But it was also all those things, my teaching, the hard graft, all those difficult times over the years, my crisis of confidence, all those things, the lessons that I learned from those things came together in 2020. And so we're in 2021 now, and it's my year of community. And this is what I want to give back to you, give back to my community so that I can help you. And if you're struggling with any of these things, whether it's with the tech, whether it's with mindset and confidence, I'm here for you. I want to help you, whether that's through my free content like this show and my podcast and my blog, my newsletter and my social media posts, or whether it's through my paid content like my courses and also my coaching and all that kind of stuff. I'm here to help you, and that's what I want to do. So let's look at some comments. Tim says, thank you for sharing your story with us. My pleasure. Carl says, yes, I'm also that kind of guy, not the most convenient alpha kind. I'm not quite sure what you mean, but alpha kind. maybe explain. I'm probably being brain dead today. Nicole says, yes, there are always doubts. I'm so happy I kept all my early videos because when I watch them now, I can see how far I've come. Video doesn't lie. And that's really important, Nicole. Thank you so much for that. Don't look at other people's videos like their 100th or their 1000th video and compare it with your first. Look at their first videos and look at your first videos, and over time you will be able to build that confidence. But I totally love that. Really great. And Tim says, I want to be a brand ambassador. If you want to have a chat, Tim, about that, let's have a chat because I'm not sure I've got all the knowledge or all the skills to be able to help you there. Maybe that's something we can talk about on the show sometime. But yeah, it's definitely a really cool thing to be able to do. Carl says, wow, Ian, you really opened up today, shown us what this means to you. Huge respect, buddy. I can relate to it. The past, not the successful outcome. Well, do you know what? We're on a journey, and, I'm not there yet. I don't know what there is. I've still got loads of things that I'm working on, struggles that those doubts are still there. But I truly believe it's really important for me to share not just the successes, but also my struggles, because it's through those struggles that I've seen in other people that they've been sharing. Like Cliff Ravenscraft is one great example. He's so transparent. He's talked about his struggles over the years, and I've really learned from those things. And it's made me realize that if he struggled with those things and I'm struggling with those things, yet he's made a success of himself, then maybe I can too. And I think that's really important. Nicole said, thank you, Nicole, saying the Atomicon talk was brilliant. So this was in 2019, I think. Yeah, that was my year of visibility. And that was awesome to see you, Nicole, there. That was great. And Nicole is an amazing speaker, by the way. I've seen her speak quite a few times, and she's great. Nicole, put your details in the comments. And Carl, I agree with you. Tim would make a great ambassador. Definitely. Carl says, I have ME. Wow, that's why I have started the social platform outlet. I think a load of people suffer with similar kind of symptoms. It's a real problem for so many people. Carl says, I went from job, a DOV expedition leader, officer of the year, Kung Fu instructor to medical retired, doing nothing, not able to go out alone. So I think it sounds like you've done loads of different things. And I wonder whether those things, all those different things, somehow they can come together to help you in your focus now, what your focus, all those things that you've learned in the past. I wonder whether that can help. Just wanted to let you know just a few things for the future. I can see a few more comments coming through, and I will come back to those, but I can see the time. This is going to be a long episode, which is cool. But what's next? Well, on this show, this is episode 101, and I was so focused on episode 100 that I didn't really get much time to think about the way forwards. But after 100 was out the way, I've started to really focus on that. I've got some amazing guests on this show, so I'm really excited about that. I'm going to share more about that in future episodes. But my focus is on delivering value, also to up the quality. Not the professionalism of the show is everything, but I'm always wanting to get better at what I do. So I'm working on a new intro and outro. I've got some widgets and overlays and transitions that I'm going to be playing with. I'm going to be testing things. And hopefully in March, I'm hoping next month, we're going to be moving house. So I'm going to be rebuilding my studio, which is going to be good because the studio that I'm in at the moment is it's not the greatest. My background's not great. It's just the way it is. But I'm going to be able to build that from scratch, which I'm really excited about. Got some new sponsors. We've got some new courses coming up. And I want to let you know, I'm going to be telling you more about this in the future. If you're listening to the podcast, by the way, that you may miss this but there'll be another one in the future, is my Launch Your Live course. And if you go to iag.me/LYL, you can find out more about my Launch Your Live course, which happens in March 2021. And it's all about how to launch your live show with success. But this time I'm going to be going a little bit more and going to be showing how you can also repurpose that into a podcast. So I think live show and podcast is something that you're going to really learn loads about. It's going to be in a community. You'll be able to learn this over 10 days, and we can learn that together because community is everything. It's so, so important. And I'm going to be working at doing more coaching, working with coaching clients, which is going to be really, really cool. So definitely awesome stuff. Well, we're at the end of the show, but let's look at a few more comments. So difficult to see people's comments until I put it on the screen. But Nicole, thank you so much, Nicole. I can highly recommend working with Ian as a coach. He's so generous with his time and offers such a breadth of support from tech to mindset to accountability. Thank you, Nicole. It was awesome working with you. And of course, the other thing that I'm going to be working with is production side of things. So I've produced Janet Murray's 2021 Sorted conference. I've also done a conference. It was actually more of an awards ceremony for podcasting for business. And so I will be doing more of those, although not so much because that is a massive thing and it takes up a lot of my time. But I definitely will be doing that. Katie says, what a massively encouraging podcast. Thank you so much for your massive help this year so far. Katie, it's been so much of a pleasure. I see so much potential in you. And I know everything's not been so easy for you, but you know, I've kind of been there. I kind of know, I don't know exactly what it's like for you, but I kind of empathize with some of the things. And so it's my gift to you, really. I hope that through my encouragement and some of the little things that I've been able to do for you, you're able to, just to grow your business and to be able to bless other people as well through what you do. Carl says, not the alpha. And Katie says, Carl, I've got ME big time too. I've had to stop work and go online. Thanks for sharing that, Katie. It's a difficult thing, but there is definitely a light at the end of the tunnel. Nicole, people don't want perfect. Ian, your honesty in sharing your story is so powerful. And, you know, I'm going to be honest, Nicole, you know, I have right from the start, I wanted this show to be an authentic show, something where I do share these stories, but I don't think I've shared that many of these stories. I've shared other people's successes. I've shared my successes, but I haven't really shared so much of the difficult times. And I want to be doing a bit more of that as well, in a way that's going to help and be encouraging. So thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Carl. Thank you, Katie, for watching. Thank you, everyone, for watching. It's been so awesome to see you there. And Carl, I'm sorry for making you emotional. He's still winning. He's still wanting a Stream Deck. The problem with the Stream Deck, Carl, is that they're out of stock. So Katie is still waiting for a Stream Deck, but it will come. Well, that is the end of today's show. It's gone on a lot longer than I expected. I'm surprised I haven't got that emotional. I've got a bit emotional, but I haven't started crying. Maybe that'll happen in another show. I don't know. We'll have to see about that. But thank you so much for watching. If you haven't discovered the podcast, go to iag.me/podcast. I'd love it if you could share that and write a review because I want to share that out and let people know and to be able to encourage people more with my podcast. That's a massive, massive thing. And of course, do check out the Launch Your Live course. The landing page for that isn't quite ready, but you can still sign up to the what do you call it? My brain's just not working now. What's it called? The can't remember the words. Anyway, the waiting list. That's the one. The waiting list. You can sign up for that. But thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I encourage you to level up your impact, authority, and profits through the power of Confident Live videos. See you soon. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Confident Live Marketing Podcast with Ian Anderson Gray. Be sure to join the community at iag.me, where you can continue to level up your impact, authority, and profits through the power of live video. And until next time, toodaloo.